My name is Karen Knight and I am the vegan amateur. At the beginning of this year, I decided to become vegan. And this is after a year of vegetarianism slash pescatarianism. I decided to just become vegan at the beginning of the new year. For me, taking this decision has been quite personal, but what I'd like to acknowledge is that it's a difficult decision and that not everybody is a whiz at cooking. Not everybody has been doing it for a long period of time or eating so many. They're not always doing it in a way that's the healthiest necessarily. And yeah, I just wanted to, share the things that, the experiences I'm having, try out new recipes, give advice if I have it, share new products I'm finding if I think that, they're really, really good. You can see I'm living in a small apartment with a very tiny kitchen, so I haven't got a lot of space. I haven't got gadgets and stuff to work with. I don't have expensive ingredients. I'm not able to necessarily afford expensive ingredients on a regular basis, maybe every once in a while. I live a pretty busy life. I work 9 to 5. Cooking isn't something I want to think about too much. At the weekends, it's a different story. That's when I like to try things and maybe add things to the recipe list for the week. But generally, I like things to be easy. I like things to be cheap, just because I don't want to be spending all of my money on groceries. Just try to be as frugal as possible. I live with my husband, who is a meat eater, although he eats pretty much everything that I eat for the most part. So he doesn't eat a lot of meat, although this year I think he might be leaning more towards pescatarianism, which is definitely a move in the right direction. So a lot of the stuff that I cook or that we have in general has to be something that suits both what I'm going to be having as a vegan as well as, somebody who's used to eating meat. He's pretty picky in one sense, but in another sense, he's pretty open-minded. I'm gonna go ahead and get started with a pretty easy recipe for tuna-less salad using jackfruit. Jackfruit is something I've only literally tried recently. I've heard a lot about it. The recipe I want to try today is something that I haven't tried before. I found it on Pinterest, of course. Pinterest. I love that for resources for vegan recipes, vegan, vegetarian, any kind of recipes. The first thing I do when I look at Pinterest is I look to see if it has the little make it label on the little recipe card that comes up. And if I click on that and I can see all the ingredients, or I can see the amount of time it takes, then I can see all the ingredients that are involved. I make a decision like straight away. Am I gonna do this or am I not gonna do it? So this one was nice and easy. I had everything in the house. I haven't made a special trip for anything. Well, I say I had everything in the house, but you'll see there's one little replacement ingredient here already. Veganosity.com is where this one came from. Okay, so ingredients wise, we've got jackfruit in water. It was what was available to me. I haven't seen jackfruit again, living in England, living in London, you don't see as much variety as you probably see in the States. America! Yeah! So I saw this in Aldi's, which is a great sort of discount grocery store. And I just bought I think about 14 cans just in case. If it disappears from Aldi, I'll be really disappointed that I didn't see it again. Yeah, I went a little bit crazy and bought quite a few products. I've got dairy-free plain yogurt, some paprika, Dijon mustard. Produce-wise, I'm supposed to have a red onion, but I didn't have one, and I figured red onion, we were going for that more sweet flavor, so I have a shallot instead. I've got some parsley. I only needed a heaped tablespoonful, so that should be enough. And 1 stalk of celery. I think that's everything. I'm gonna have my tuna salad on toast, so I've got that ready to go in the toaster. Right, so let's get started. I'm gonna take the jackfruit and drain it, and I'm going to just blitz it up in my Ninja. So I'm gonna sort of pulse it until it gets to that tuna-like consistency. From working with it before, I can say you can also kind of chop it up with a knife, or I guess use your fingers to break things up. But this recipe suggested pulsing it in the blender. So that is what I'm actually going to do. Jackfruit doesn't want to come out. I remember this from the last time I used it. It's really jammed in there, so I guess you're getting your money's worth. I can't remember how much this was per can. All I remember was that it was there, and I was like, it's mine, like, it's mine. Right, finally in there. If you don't have a blender, it was easy enough to just break it up with your fingers or cut it up with a knife. Here we go. It does already look like tuna. What's pictured in the website is like lighter colored. I think they called it young or green or something like that. Young jackfruit is what they said. This doesn't say young jackfruit, but it's what I got. So that's what I'm using. Okay, more pulsing. Just give your Ultra Ninja a shake. I do. Okay, I don't want to do any more blending on this. You can have a look and see what it looks like. I'm going to go through and just break up some of these bigger chunks. Just get in there. Just get in there. Need to rinse my hands off. No more big chunks in there. I'm going to chop up my celery and my onion. Sorry, not my onion. My shallot. Or my shallot, as they say over here. I'm going to use my Gordon Ramsay tip as well for sharpening knives.
The moldy lamb bones?
I think that even if you are an amateur, you've probably heard that you should always cut and chop with sharp knives. And Gordon Ramsay suggests using something like this kind of sharpener. And he suggests sharpening before and after you use your knives so that they always stay sharp. So what I'm gonna do is just cut this down the middle here. I guess it depends on how you like your celery in your tuna salad. I don't like to have big chunks in my tuna salad, and I'm gonna use the same sort of approach to cutting up the onion or my shallot. So I'm just cutting this up. I just don't want to have big chunks of celery. Chop, chop, chop. Choppa, choppa, choppy. Chop, chop, chop. Choppa, choppa, choppy. Oh, I forgot to mention that I also have a dog as a part of my family. His name is Bernie. He hears chopping and he thinks that there's something for him. Okay, those just go in. Sometimes chopping vegetables is therapeutic and sometimes it's just a pain in the ass. I don't know how you feel about it. So I'm going to use another method that I learned from watching Gordon Ramsay.
The moldy lamb bones?
For getting my shallot chopped up, or my shallot, or diced I should say, which is, it's so cool. It's so cool. So you take off all the skin. Bernie, go down. He's begging for treats. I don't know that he would actually want to have a piece of this, but so you leave the, I don't know what you call this. I guess that's the root. You leave that end on. Cut the top end off. Leave that end on. Leave that end on. Leave that end on, and then just Bernie, just make thin slicing cuts, but not all the way to the root. So you can go all the way to the other end that you cut off, but start from the root. Don't cut through the root, sort of leave that intact. I'll show you in a second. Oh gosh, I really look like an amateur now. That's good because I am one. So you can see I've made some slices, but I've not cut all the way through to the end there. And then what you can do is just cut across perpendicular to those cuts that you just made, and you've got perfect little diced bits of your shallot, or my shallot. Break it up a little and you can see. If you cut all the way through, then everything gets all slippery and starts sliding all around all over the place, and just not so easy to work with. Bernie, go down. Bernie, go down. He is digging my leg. Come on, go down. I can't touch you now. I can't feed you now. I'm begging for treats. And I don't have anything on this board that he's gonna like, so he can't have anything. I know I'm an amateur vegan, but I have been able to cook for myself since I was pretty young. I try to be a neat worker in the kitchen, just because it keeps the stress levels down. Bernie, please go down. I'm gonna clean up as I go. And one pitfall to that is actually forgetting about the food.
Who is the head chef here?
And cleaning and letting things burn whilst I'm like washing up or doing something like that. So I've got my plain dairy-free yogurt. This is a brand called Coco. It's really the only one I've ever seen in the supermarkets around here, so you might find something more convenient to you. The flavor is quite plain. Doesn't really smell of anything. I think everybody thinks it's gonna be like coconut flavor, but it doesn't. It is really plain. So it's good for these kinds of recipes where you would normally have mayonnaise or some other sort of dairy in it, like sour cream or something like that. This is 3 tablespoons of this yogurt that I'm putting in here. That's Bernie telling me that there's nothing in his bowl, just in case I didn't know. Uh-oh, I put too much yogurt in.
Oh, shit!
Whoopsie. I'm gonna just scrape some out. This is an amateur show. Amateur show. It was only supposed to be 2 of the yogurt. There you go. Take a little bit more out. It's okay. It's savable. Some people might have said, okay, well, we have to start over again, when really you don't have to start over again. I hadn't mixed it all in, so that was good. 3 tablespoons of Dijon mustard. And then I think it was a half a teaspoon of paprika. Paprika. There's my teaspoon. It's got yogurt on it. I don't have anything special here. No special smoked paprika. Paprika. You might have something fancier, and if I ever end up with something fancier in my cupboard or on my shelves, then that's what I'll use. But at the moment, I've got some cheap Aldi paprika. I think we're almost there with getting these ingredients in. So jackfruit, celery, onion, or my shallot. Chopping herbs is not something anybody really wants to spend their life doing. Okay, so that was 1 heaping tablespoon of fresh chopped parsley. So I think that's well, maybe not a heaping tablespoon, but it's a tablespoon at least. And I'm not doing any more. I'm not really that fussed about parsley, to be fair. Ground sea salt and pepper to taste. You don't have to necessarily use fancy ground sea salt, but I have some.
I'm from Cornwall, innit?
So I'm gonna use it. And pepper.
We are eating pepper.
Okay, so I'm not gonna throw that in yet. I'm just gonna get rid of some of this stuff that I have. I'm gonna put my bread down to toast. So it's looking a little wet. Tuna salad is wet. Let's have a taste. So it tastes nice. It definitely gives off that, it tastes Dijon mustard, I guess, more than anything else. But it gives the texture of when you have like tuna salad. It is very bland. So I am gonna add some salt. I mean, aside from the Dijon mustard. I'm gonna spice mine up a bit. I'm gonna add a bit more paprika. Paprika? Paprika? Paprika. Paprika never hurt anybody. Paprika never hurt anybody. Maybe if I had fancy paprika, it would be tasting a little bit better. Or less bland. There's a lot more paprika. That's okay. Paprika never hurt anybody. A bit more paprika, and we put some pepper in. Sprinkle it in from a height in a chefy way. In a chefy way. I think that's pretty good. It makes loads. I think the recipe says 2 cups. I am going to have mine on toast. This is going to be messy, but I'm going to go for it anyway. Looks a little cat foodie at the moment, but tuna salad looks cat foodie as well. No, let's not be bougie. I'm just going to eat it, gonna eat it. My bread is really little as well. I like it. I like it. I'd have that again. I'd do it again. Right. Well, thanks. Until the next video, have a good one. Bye.